Yo guys, so welcome to my first FIFA 23 video of the year so far, and it's a play review on Jonathan David, as you can see from the title, and we'll go into some gameplay, we'll go into his footbin a little bit to talk about some things, but real quick I just wanted to say, I did want to do a few other videos for FIFA so far this year, but I've just not found any way that I wanted to do them properly, but there will be some more play reviews coming out, short to long term, and I stream my RTG over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/LiamUK, most days, some days, depends, and if you want to check that out, go check that out over there. I'll leave a link in the description as well. But yeah, Jonathan David, let's get into some of his stats on Footbin, and we'll talk about lengthy a bit more, shall we? So we're over on Footbin now with Jonathan David, and as you can see, 650 coins on all platforms, dirt cheap player. I know a lot of people have quite a few coins right now just because I think packs are a little bit juiced when it comes to how many you can get, and some are untradeable, yeah, but a lot of SBC fodder, things like that. People are just building up their clubs quite well, so coins aren't really too big of an issue for people right now. But he is a cheap striker. If you are looking for someone to use that is cheap, I would say he's probably one of the best 50k to under 100k like sort of strikers. Like under that price range, you won't find anyone much better. Honestly, I would only say the people that are better than that are probably some of the icons that can be lengthy now, or maybe Haaland. Obviously, is going to be an insane player, but under that sort of price point, definitely one of the best. So let's go into his like in games a little bit and just talk about a little bit more about him. So obviously you can see he doesn't start lengthy. What you have to do is reset him and make sure he's on full chem, which is really important to get all the max stats out of the chem styles. Chuck him on architect and he becomes lengthy, as you can see. If you don't know what lengthy is, blah blah blah, I recommend going and checking out a video on FIFA 23's accelerate feature now. But there's three types: lengthy, explosive, controlled. Lengthy is the one that people are using right now. And yeah, anyway, David, 3-star skills, 5-star weak foot. Cracking player, really. I mean, in games wise, really good, solid overall. He's right footed, he has high, he can be out of position a little bit sometimes, like dropping back into a cam, but it's not too bad. Has the outside foot shot trait for the broken Travellas this year. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to really say about the card, so what we'll do is we'll get into some gameplay and we'll talk about how he actually feels in game. So lengthy strikers is a big topic right now, and you're going to hear it a lot throughout the rest of this video, and I kind of apologise, but it is such an important thing now for FIFA 23, especially with the way meta is going, and the meta rats are going to be all over it, theory crafting who is going to be the best player. I honestly think Haaland right now is rising in price for a lot of reasons, but I do think he is probably going to be the best striker for lengthy, and if there's no nerf in sight, I think it's probably going to stay that way for a very long time, especially up until we sort of start getting the better icons versions. But yeah, anyway, David, let's talk about some of his positives. I really liked his positioning, his passing, and I haven't liked his heading. They're the sort of three that I want to talk about: positioning, passing, and heading. We'll start with his heading because that's probably the only bad thing I can talk about with the card. Being 5'11", I expected him to do a little bit more up front and be a little bit more of a threat when it comes to corners and stuff, but I have struggled with corners overall this year so far. I only really score like volleys or like diving headers, and I don't really know what's going wrong with that, especially with the keepers being so 50-50, whether they're golden or trash. But yeah, I found heading not to be great, and especially so with David, I didn't really enjoy that. So if you're thinking about buying him for that heading aspect or the physicality aspect, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for that. But if you are looking for a striker that is going to be sort of meta, despite the price range, 100% pick him up. And let's talk about lengthy. Lengthy means that people are going to be in one-on-ones quite a lot because over the top through balls aren't great, but with lengthy they can beat those defenders, especially if the defenders aren't lengthy themselves as well. And he has a 5-star weak foot to go along with that. So positioning wise, the fact that he can find himself in positions and it doesn't matter where he is, left foot, right foot, he's not, even has the outside foot shot trait as well for the broken Travellas this year. He sort of feels like a bit of a perfect player. So his positioning is great, heading not so great, and finally that leaves passing as well. Passing wise, because he's high, I find him building up the play quite a lot. And whether that's a bad or a good thing, I think is up to your play style. But for this year, the fact that it is a lot more of a passing year and build up year, slower, I do quite like him for that. And I don't think high is the end of the world for him. I think if he was high-low though, he would be a little bit more proficient with his runs. But tactics wise, you can sort of mess about with that and find him in better positions. And I will end up making a custom tactics video for what I've been using so far, probably the next day or two, so be on the lookout for that as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed David, and overall I'd probably give him like a 9 out of 10 overall, just because he is a cheap player. I know that icons like even Van Nistelrooy, for example, that can become lengthy, I think they could be really strong, and just because they've got those better overall stats finishing wise and just in general the better in games, I think he'd probably outdo people like David. But for the price range, he's probably the second best striker in Liga behind Mbappe, and that's not even me joking. I genuinely think he's that good. So I do recommend trying him out, and if you're looking for any other FIFA content, keep an eye on my channel for the next few days and next few weeks. There'll be loads coming out. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you in the next one.